I think more than anything these days, ceremonies are drifting away from what it traditionally used to be like. It was a bit more of a tick something off at the start of the day so the couple's married. But these days, I think more than anything, it should set the vibe and set the tone for what the rest of the night's going to be like.
Hey guys, Anthony here from Videoboutique, bringing you another podcast with some amazing suppliers and advice from couples who we've had the pleasure of working with. Today we do speak to a supplier, and this time around it's Paul the stand-up celebrant. And yes, there is such a thing. Paul is fantastic at what he does. He brings not only a lot of humour, but manages to bring a lot of sentiment to a ceremony when it matters most. Today we talk to him about what it takes to have a really amazing, memorable ceremony, and he's got some really great tips. So enjoy, guys. Let us know what you think. And remember, we've got plenty more of these podcasts coming, so do follow.
Hello, Paul speaking.
Hello, Paul.
How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How's your day going? A bit busy?
Mate, it's a crazy day with employing a new editor, so we're inducting her.
Mm-hmm.
One of our machines conveniently went down, so I had to run down to the computer shop. It's just one of those days, you know?
Yeah. Well, you only get better.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's better already now that I'm talking to you, Paul.
Oh, please stop. I'm blushing over here. You can't see it, but...
Oh, good. Look, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No worries. My pleasure.
Firstly, a lot of couples come to us, and for whatever reason, they normally choose to, lock the venues in first.
Mm-hmm.
And then the normal way they go about planning their wedding is, videography, photography, and then they'll, celebrant and all the rest of it. So they're often asking us, what are your thoughts on the ceremony? What should we be doing? And we have our own views, but, I'm really keen to hear what your thoughts are on, firstly, organising an impactful wedding ceremony. What do you normally advise your couples, mate?
I think more than anything these days, ceremonies are drifting away from what it traditionally used to be like. It was a bit more of a tick something off at the start of the day so the couple's married. But these days, I think more than anything, it should set the vibe and set the tone for what the rest of the night's going to be like. I mean, you would have been to a few ceremonies, a lot of ceremonies over your time and maybe seen how they've changed. But I think these days people want something that's a bit more relaxed, with some humour involved as well, and something that's going to be memorable, something that guests are going to talk about once the ceremony's done and dusted and they're having a few drinks at the reception, and they're going to be like, you know what, that was something different. We really enjoyed that. It wasn't a cut copy script that I've heard a million times and all those lovelorn cliches you've heard a million times. So I think the best approach is to go in with that mindset that it should be something to set the vibe for the rest of the night.
Good one. And that's potentially that's more your clientele, and that's why they're reaching out to you, because your approach is very unique. It is very different. And what about more on the practical side of things? Are there any, is it the usual, bride walking down with her father, or we kind of know the wedding ritual and, the rules, if you like, but, how about breaking them? And is that something you have done and do and suggest? What are your thoughts there?
Yes and no. I mean, there's still a lot of those rituals which I still think they definitely have their place, like the giving away of the bride or groom, readings, the asking, all those little bits and pieces. They've stuck around. They're stuck through the years because they're there for a reason. They have impact and they mean a lot to the couples. I think the changing is more in the way the celebrant is presenting the ceremony. So I know from past, and I could be wrong here, but it was more less about the couple and more about focused on love and what it means in society and all that sort of thing. But I think things are drifting more towards the story of the couple and how that can be told in entertaining and occasionally humorous way. And there's also room for new things and for weddings and ceremonies to evolve, which is always exciting as well.
Now the big one, the the vows. Personally, as a videographer, I really like it when couples write their own vows. I think it's a really nice touch. And then when they don't, I always wonder why. But I wonder what your thoughts are on writing your own personalised vows versus, not.
Well, I think the biggest tip to give couples is to not keep your vows too long, because it just puts too much pressure on yourself and your partner, because you're in the middle of a wedding, your own wedding, and there's so much anxiety and everything else going on at the same time. The last thing you want to be doing is reading from 2 pages of paper.
Sure.
I can understand why some couples don't decide to go with their personalised vows. They might just not like speaking out in front of people. It can be a pretty intimidating thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think, for the most part, as you said before, I think having personalised vows is a nice thing and it's a good touch. And it's also, as we spoke about before, one of those rituals that stuck around and stuck around for a good reason. And I think it's good to, in a way, challenge yourself as well. If you are umming and ahhing about doing your personalised vows, I reckon go for it. But only need to keep them to 2 or 3 paragraphs and keep them maintainable throughout the ceremony.
Yeah, definitely. I spoke to a bride recently who was, thinking of whether she should or shouldn't, and then she decided that she wouldn't. And it's not because she didn't think it was important. She said, if I write my own vows, it's going to be way too sentimental and I'm just going to cry all the way through it. And I thought, that's probably a good reason. If you feel you're going to get overly emotional and you don't want to do that, then, don't write those personalised vows,
At the same time, I don't mind seeing a few tears at a ceremony. That's a nice thing. It shows how much it means to them too. So there's no shame in crying out in front of people. If you're going to do it, Anthony, you're going to do it at your wedding for sure. So why not?
It depends what sort of crier you are, mate.
Yeah.
And if you've got a videography team there, you know what I mean? I can see why some might hesitate.
Yeah, sure. You're going to get some real close-ups of the makeup dripping and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right. We've heard some cracker readings in the past. Like, they don't have to be, overly, sentimental. It could be all sorts of stuff. What are your suggestions there?
So the tough thing that can happen if you're doing a reading and someone who doesn't like to speak in front of public and doesn't like to think themselves as very funny, if they try something humorous, it can fall on its face. So if they're more of a sentimental person, go for that more sentimental side for readings. But it's got to be in line with what the person is. I still like readings as well. It breaks up the ceremony as well and gets people involved. That's one thing. It's always nice if there's someone that's not quite part of the bridal party.
Yeah, that's
right.
You
can bring someone involved that just missed out, just was on the cusp. So bring them off the bench and do a reading. It's a really nice way to bring them into the wedding.
And it's like every decision, from the music of the ceremony to the readings and the vows. It's got to be true to the couple, and that's very.
It's got to be genuine. Yeah, absolutely.
Genuine. Okay, now a little bit about you, Paul. I know you've been around for a long time. What I really like about your approach is that, you bring humour into it. And I think that's fantastic, mate. So tell me a little bit about, how you got into becoming a celebrant. Was it stand-up comedy first, then celebrancy, or what was the order?
Yeah, Anthony, it was. I started doing stand-up, and I couldn't even tell you the reason why I started to do stand-up. I think I just wanted to try something completely different. I did stand-up for a couple of years and loved it. It was great, especially when it went well. When it didn't go so well, not so great, but that's the nature of trying to do stand-up comedy. But did that for a couple of years and then started emceeing a lot of friends' weddings, and they seemed to really enjoy it. And I got a very good friend, Simon Van Dam, who is also a musician, played a lot of the same weddings I did, and he just said, just become a celebrant. It's a great thing to do. It doesn't take up all of your day, and it's a massive part of people's weddings, and you can play a real genuine part in that. And it's become a full-time job, and I'm pretty lucky. I couldn't be happier doing it. It's a pretty amazing job. So. Yeah, a lot of people, I don't know if this happens with yourself, but a lot of suppliers get wedding fatigue, but I 2.5 years in or 3 years in. I haven't really felt that as yet. So it's a pretty great job.
Definitely. How do you weave in your comedy with couples? I mean, what's your usual process?
That's a good question. I think there's definitely got to be a mix between comedy and sentimentality. So I can't be just going out there and just roasting the couple the whole time.
Totally taking the piss. No, you don't want to do that.
All of the scripts are different. Each one's personalised. And again, it comes back to that genuineness we talked about before. It's got to be true to the couple, and it's got to be something that's true to them, and it's going to relay with the rest of the crowd as well. So I'll go back and forth with the couple as many times as I like with the script to make sure it's all good to go and all great for the day. But it can be a careful balance, but I think after 150 odd weddings, it's a balance I've gotten quite used to now. So it's just mixing the both is between sentimentality and comedy is really important.
How are they involved in the process, Paul?
So there's a couple of options. I've got an online ceremony builder which they can fill out and go through and pick out the structure and the content and write down how they met and all that sort of thing. That's good in a way. I like that for couples who live quite a way away, but I probably prefer to meet up with couples and chat with them about how they met, traits and habits, and create a story that's fun, humorous, non-cliche as well, and something that's personalised to both of them. So they do have a pretty massive say in what goes in and what doesn't go into a script.
Tell me about, Pimp My Service and My Celebrant Buddy, which I think are really great ideas.
Yeah.
But tell our audience a little bit about those two, service options, if you like.
I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but I thought, I'd just give couples the option to let them choose what they want me to wear for their ceremony.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's mostly normal ones on there, a few formal ones, a few non-formal ones. Then there's Bogan Classique, which is a bit of a joke outfit, to be honest, but a few couples have picked it for their ceremony, but I didn't end up wearing it. That's basically me in a torn singlet and stuffy shorts and a cigarette, a beer.
It's brilliant. For anyone who hasn't been on your website and checked out the video that's on there, they really should, I reckon.
Yeah.
So what would be the typical outfit that your couples are choosing you to wear?
So it's pretty standard. It's usually the vest, shirt, and tie combo. It's there's a couple of outlandish ones. I had a couple ones. I say this to a couple all the time. I had a couple that wanted me to dress up as a dinosaur and walk down to the theme of Jurassic Park. So.
But the options are open, aren't they, Paul?
Look, Anthony, if I put it out there, look, I'm willing to do it. So.
I think some of these couples of yours need to up the ante a little bit, mate, and get you wearing some unique stuff for sure.
Don't give too many ideas, Anthony. Okay, let's just I'm open to anything and everything. It's all about a bit of fun and having a good time with it for sure.
Excellent, Paul.
No worries, Anthony. I really appreciate having a chat, and really intrigued to see how it all comes out.
And you got a good celebrant's voice, mate. So we won't have to do very much.
Awesome. Thanks again, mate. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for your time, Paul. See you.
No worries.
Bye.
See you, Anthony. Bye.
And there you have it, a great conversation with Paul, the stand-up comedian. Funny guy, lovely dude, and if you want a celebrant who's going to do things a little bit differently, do reach out to him. We do highly recommend him. He's great on the day. Thanks for listening. We hope that was helpful. We've got a lot more great content coming to you soon, which we hope will help you plan your very own wedding. If there's anything that you're struggling with or would like some information on, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. Till then, take care, happy wedding planning, and bye for now.